In the dark silence between galaxies, where the stars themselves seemed to withhold their light out of fear, there moved a shadow. No fleet heralded his coming. No banners marked his wars, yet whole civilizations trembled when whispers of his name reached their ears. The Baba Yaga. A myth, they said, a human phantom. A tale invented by frightened soldiers who needed an explanation for the nightmares stalking their battlefields. But myths do not bleed, and legends do not leave behind trails of corpses that can be counted and burned. He was no story. He was a man, and they had made the one mistake no empire, no species, no god should have ever dared to make. They killed his wife. It had not been war at first. Humanity had reached the stars quietly, carefully. They were not the largest empire, nor the most technologically advanced. They traded where they could, avoided where they couldn't, and fought only when forced. But peace never lasts in the great sea of civilizations. The Threx Dominion, old, arrogant, and cruel, saw Earth as a resource, a planet ripe with metals, waters, and fertile soil. When Earth's representatives refused to submit, the Dominion struck. Cities burned, millions died, and in one small colony on Europa's frozen plains, a single woman was executed as an example. They called her death necessary, efficient, a message. To him, it was personal. Her name had been Anya. She had laughed under the pale light of Jupiter's glow, her eyes always soft even when the cold bit their bones. She was his balance, his reason not to lose himself in the shadows he had once trained in. Before her, he had been a weapon. With her, he had been a man. Without her, only the weapon remained. The Dominion's mistake was thinking they had killed a human. In truth, they had resurrected the Baba Yaga. The first Dominion warship he found was not ready for him. How could it be? He slipped aboard during a cargo transfer, unseen by scanners, undetected by guards. Hours later, the ship drifted silent, its crew hanging in zero-G like broken puppets. Not a single shot had been fired. The message spread. The ship had been hunted from within. Survivors whispered of a man who moved in the dark, who killed with his hands, who stared at them with eyes colder than the void. The Dominion dismissed it as fear-driven hallucination, until it happened again, and again, and again. Soon entire fleets altered course to avoid the sectors he traveled. Garrison worlds doubled their defenses. But no wall was high enough, no fortress strong enough. He was already inside before they realized he had come. They gave him names, the Black Wolf, the Deathwalker, the Unseen Knife. But the name that stuck, the one passed even between alien children and hushed voices, was the one his enemies had once used centuries before, back when humanity still fought its wars in the dark of Earth's forests. Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, the hunter of hunters. But he was not satisfied with soldiers or ships. No, he wanted the architects, the decision-makers, the ones who had signed her death order like it was a meaningless line on parchment. He hunted the Dominion's strongest, its champions bred for war, its generals raised on battlefields, its assassins carved from shadows like himself. One by one, he found them. One by one, they fell. The Kareth warlord, a giant whose claws had carved through armored infantry. He died in silence, his throat crushed by a man's bare hands. The Dominion's assassin, Zyrel the Many Blades, who had ended the lives of 30 rulers before reaching adulthood. He never reached his 21st year, his blade scattered across the floor of his own sanctuary, his blood painting the walls. The champion of the gladiatorial arenas, a monster bred from 10 species, muscle and fury given form. He was broken in the sand while thousands watched in horror, and Baba Yaga's voice whispered over broadcast, "You killed my wife." Each kill was not just vengeance. It was a message, a reminder written in blood. Humanity was not to be trifled with. For centuries, alien empires had whispered of Earth as a dangerous cradle world, a death world, but still they had mocked. Still they had thought humans fragile compared to their titans and predators. Now the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest strength was not their claws, not their weapons, not their armies. It was their grief sharpened into fury, and his grief was endless. The Dominion grew desperate. They gathered their strongest fleet, 100 warships surrounding a planet fortified, with every weapon known. They called it a trap, baiting him with the promise of the man who had signed her death warrant, Archregent Vathos. The trap failed, because traps required a prey to enter them willingly. Baba Yaga did not come in through the sky. He was already on the planet. No one knows how he slipped through. Some say he was smoke. Others say the shadows themselves bent to let him pass. What is known is that when the Dominion's fleet opened fire on empty air, their regent's screams were already echoing through the fortress halls. When they forced their way inside, they found Vathos nailed to his own throne, his blood spelling out a name the aliens could not understand, but humanity never forgot: Anya. The Dominion fractured after that. Civil wars broke out. Rivals pounced on their weakness. Within a decade, the empire that had spanned 1,000 worlds was nothing but shattered remnants. And through it all, sightings of him continued, never aging, never slowing, appearing on battlefields not his own, cutting down warlords, dictators, slavers, those who took the innocent and crushed them beneath their boots. Some whispered that he was immortal, others that he had become more than human, something the void itself had created to punish arrogance. The truth was simpler. He was a man who had lost everything, and a man with nothing left to lose is a force no empire can withstand. In the quiet after the Dominion's fall, when lesser empires argued and scrabbled for scraps, a council of alien rulers gathered. They spoke in fear, not pride. "What do we do about him?" they asked. "How do you stop a nightmare?" one muttered. No one answered. They all remembered the regent. They all remembered the champions. They all remembered that the Baba Yaga did not stop when war ended. He stopped only when he was finished. And no one knew what finished meant to him. Humanity, for its part, never sent fleets in his wake. Earth's government claimed no connection to him. To them, he was as much a ghost as he was to the rest of the galaxy. But in every human heart, there was a spark of grim pride, because the galaxy now understood a truth humanity had always known. You can wound them, you can fight them, you can even kill them, but if you take what they love, if you take what makes them human, you will face what waits in the dark. And so the legend grew. Some claimed to see him wandering forgotten battlefields, placing flowers where no human flowers should grow. Others swore they saw him speak to no one, murmuring a name into the void. Perhaps he was searching for peace. Perhaps he would never find it. But the strongest aliens in the galaxy had already learned what peace cost when they took it from him. They had learned why the universe itself whispered his name with fear. And they had learned that Baba Yaga hunts forever.